One of the most meaningful things that you can do to improve your photography and videos is own and use a tripod. And this opens up a range of different options that you just don't have without the use of a tripod. And the first one is time-lapse photo and time-lapse video. When you ever see those things with the people streaking by and they're all blurred, or you see the stars going by, you have to have a tripod to have a stable base to capture those videos. The next one is long exposure, whether it just be a photo of the stars with a lighthouse in the foreground, or it be a waterfall that is all blurred and smooth, or it be the streaking of the cars and lights at night. Long exposure requires a tripod. And even if you're just traveling with a group and you want to get a photo or yourself in a video, having a tripod allows you to do that. And that's the one thing I often hear from my friends about my personal photos and videos, that I'm never in the photos and I'm never in the videos. So having a tripod opens up that opportunity as well. But particularly those time-lapse videos and long exposure photos, these are styles of photography and video that really separate a high-quality professional photographer from somebody that is shooting with their phone. And when people see those images, they're really gonna know that you've sort of put some thought and you've got some skill involved. But really, it is just the tripod and using the right settings in the camera. There's not that much to it, and they're actually quite easy to do. And although I know all this, my biggest problem with tripods is they're big and bulky to carry around. And even the most portable full-size tripods are a bit of a burden if you're going backpacking or hiking, or whether you're just going for a quick jaunt into the city and you want to capture some photos. These aren't situations that you want to even take the smallest tripod with you. And that's where I love these little tabletop tripods. And this is probably the most advanced and one of the most lightweight tabletop tripods that I've ever tested. Now, in full disclosure, this was sent out to me by a company called SIRUI. They also make some incredible anamorphic lenses, but they make a ton of different tripods. And this is a new one they just released, and the model number is like AM223L or some ridiculous thing. I will put links in the description down below to the specific tripod I'm talking about, because their model numbers are pretty confusing. Anyways, the thing that I love about this tripod is it is a carbon fiber and metal tripod. The whole thing is made of carbon fiber and metal. The other thing that is so cool about it, and probably the reason I'm really telling you about it, is the size of it. It is absolutely tiny when it's folded up. Now, you can throw this in your suitcase if you're going on long distance travel. It'll fit in a carry-on. It'll fit in my sort of small walk around the city bag that I use for like street photography. So even when I'm going out for street photography, I'm gonna be able to have a tripod with me, particularly for this sort of long exposure city stuff, and the time lapse. Time lapse in the city is like super, super cool. And I'm not even gonna notice that it's with me because it's so small. So if I don't use it, it's not really a big deal. And even though the tripod is super light, it's 0.63 kilos, which is probably 1.2 to 1.5 pounds or something like that. It can hold up to 15 kilograms of weight, which is something like 35 pounds or something outrageous like that. So it is a tiny little tripod which has the capacity of just about any big portable tripod out there. So regardless of how big your camera and lenses, even like wildlife lenses, you're gonna be able to use on this tripod. And it has this really clever design where they have built this sort of low profile ball head into the actual unit itself. So they've just got like a little lever here, and then you can adjust the ball head. Now, it doesn't have the full range of motion going all the way to the side like a traditional ball head would, but regardless of what sort of ground you set it up on, if the ground's uneven, you can level that out with this sort of, I don't know, I call it a quarter size ball head because it's not like the full size ball head. But that keeps the thing super, super compact. And all you do with it is you just screw it in to the bottom of the camera like this. So you've just got your mounting point. You find your mounting point and you just spin it on until it's on, and there we go. That is the tripod onto the camera. It's super simple, and then to take it off, a couple twists and it's off. Now, beyond that, this isn't just like a sort of micro tripod. At this point, it's pretty small and maybe not as flexible as you want, but it extends. So it just about triples in height in total with these little twist lock mechanisms. So now we got a tripod that is sort of, 3 times the height it originally was. Now, when you got the tripod like this and it's its full height, you might find that if you put a big heavy camera on there, you're a bit worried. Is it going to be a bit tippy, particularly if you have a much bigger lens on it? But the legs have 3 adjustable points. And once you lower this thing down, as you can imagine, you've got the tripod set up like that. That's going nowhere. There's literally no way that the wind is going to knock that thing over, regardless of how much wind there is or what have you, or how long the lens is. And if you need an even lower position, it can go all the way out like this. And you probably wouldn't need the legs fully extended when you were like that. Now you've got a super low stable base, or you can just go into the first level. And so you've got a lot of flexibility with this tripod. The other thing that's really cool about this tripod is sometimes the tripod at this height might be too short, but I want it to be a little bit taller, but I don't want to use like the full extension of each of these legs. Then what happens traditionally is I go along and I'm trying to get these all to even out to the same length, and where I'll be adjusting and pulling out like this. And then I'm never quite sure, are they the same length or not? But these legs, the final legs, have little measurements on them. So you can see it's just, I assume they're, I don't know, 10, 20, I don't know if they're millimeters or what they are, but these little measurements. So if you set one leg to say 30, then I set the other leg to 30, and then I set the other leg to 30. I reckon that is around centimeters. And now it's perfectly even because I've been able to determine that each of the individual final parts of the legs are extended to the same amount. The other thing with the tripod is if you do want to add a ball head to it, you can do that. It does add a little bit of size, but it does give you that flexibility of the ball head. And SIRUI has a range of ball heads that will suit this tripod as well, but that just gives you an additional option. So if you want a ball head, which particularly allows you to get down in this position, sort of that side position. Also, a ball head will allow you to get a better angle towards the ground. If you're doing like macro photo or macro video, you can sort of aim that ball head more down at the ground where you've only got 15 degrees of change with the built-in ball head. So you've still got that option. If you've got a ball head at home, you can throw that on, or you can get one that SIRUI can provide. So I have long been on the search for the perfect tabletop tripod because I use tabletop tripods just as much as I use traditional tripods. And right now, this is my #1 recommendation, mainly because of weight and portability and the versatility of having these legs that extend in all these different positions. I will put a link in the description down below to this specific tripod. As I said, their model numbers are super confusing. It's like 223L or something like that. And SIRUI also makes some incredible cinema lenses, including anamorphic lenses. And I've just thrown a video on screen now. This is my favorite SIRUI anamorphic lens. And if you want to turn your life into a movie, then this is definitely the lens for you.